This is Rick Rule for Rule Investment Media and the Rule Classroom, sponsors of the 2025 Rule Natural Resources Investment Symposium, held July 7 through 11 in Boca Raton, Florida, or via live stream from the comfort and convenience of your own home. A few things you need to know about the conference right now. The first is that we're going to give you more than 50 hours of intensive and valuable programming over 4 days, and that's more than you can absorb. To that end, whether you attend live or live stream, we will have recordings of the conference available for you, and you're going to need to access them. To get your money's worth, you're going to need more than the 50 hours that comprise the conference. You also need to know a few other things. We interview every exhibitor before the conference so that you can allocate your time and your capital more effectively at the conference. We urge you to reach out to those exhibitors who provide services that you think might be of use before you get to the conference, so that you can utilize your time at the conference more efficiently. Know too that at our conference, unlike any other investment conference on the planet, every single exhibitor has been vetted. If they're a public company, they're owned and accounts, owned and managed by the conference sponsors. If they are service providers, we have to be familiar with those services and either use them ourselves or in our investment career, in this case with the conference going back 30 years, never have received one report of a service failure associated with those exhibitors. Note that we turn down more exhibitors for this conference than we accept. That allows us to do something that no other investment conference on the planet does, which is to give you, the attendee, a 100% solid gold money back guarantee. If you don't think you got your money's worth coming to our conference live or live stream, email us. We give you your money back. I'm very proud to say in 30 years of putting on this conference, we've had to refund less than 0.1% of the tuition charged. But unlike any other investment conference on the planet, you have a full money back guarantee. So let's begin the process. I have the great good fortune today to introduce an exhibitor that I've known for a very long time. I tease that he and his whole team were well brought up because I helped bring them up. Rob and I had an unusual relationship in that he ran the business and I worked for it, and I reported to him. Well, at the same time, he reported to me as the largest shareholder and a member of the board, but it worked very, very, very well. So, Rob, thank you, first of all, for decades, literally decades of work on behalf of investors. But thank you, too, for your sponsorship and support of the Natural Resources Investment Symposium.
Happy to be here, Rick. Happy to be with you.
Tell us something about your own background in financial services and how that impacts on your ability to answer these questions, and also run this group of people who offer services to investors.
Yeah, thanks. So I graduated college in the early 90s, got my MBA, and I've been in this business ever since. I actually started getting my training in investing from my father, who was one of the founders of a brokerage firm. And so instead of talking about baseball or football as a kid, as we were in the car or on family vacations, he used to talk to me about bonds and stocks and option strategies. So it's something I grew up with. I helped start a discount brokerage firm back in the early 90s. I then morphed that and started bringing on full service advisors and got familiar with that business. I was introduced to my predecessor, who worked for you at Sprott Global, and got introduced and was fortunate enough to take over the reins about 10 years ago. So I've been with Sprott for about 10 years, and it's been a wonderful journey for me. It's exposed me to natural resources in a way that I'd never been exposed to before. And I now understand the importance of an allocation to natural resources for an overall generalist investor. And it's underrepresented in the United States. And so I think Sprott's mission to educate people on natural resources is a very valuable one, and one that we hope we're playing a valuable part in as well.
Many natural resource investors know Sprott around the Sprott physical products, or around their mutual funds, around their lending business. Many people don't even know that Sprott has a wealth management business. So why don't you describe that business? And I want you to talk particularly about the interplay between the various parts of the Sprott organization,
Yeah,
and how your operation, Carlsbad, has access to the whole brain trust at Sprott.
appreciate that. Yeah, so thanks for bringing that up. So Sprott is a global asset manager, as you said, with uh, publicly traded products. But I changed the name of the business you started from Sprott Global Resource Investments to Sprott Wealth Management to shine a brighter light on the fact that we do have a wealth management division. Uh, Many of our advisors started their careers as geologists. And so now they are in the wealth management side of the business and do deep, deep analysis. We share those every morning amongst ourselves on a morning call, and we have access to the greater Sprott organization and their portfolio managers and their analysis. So it's not just us here in Carlsbad, but it's the Sprott Global brand, Toronto, New York, Connecticut, and California.
And tell me about something about those assets. I know that, but tell our group the access that you have, as an example, to the engineers and geologists in the lending division, to the great geologists that you have supporting. I mean, really, what you have is you have access to a 35 or $40 billion organization, which is probably unparalleled among retail advisors in the U.S.
Yeah, I can't think of an analog to the deep expertise that we have in natural resources. I can't think of an analog in the United States. We really do have, I believe, the best team, uh, possibly globally, but definitely, I believe, in the United States for natural resource investing.
And that team, as I remember, and perhaps you've changed it, so correct me if I'm wrong, that team is represented by an investment committee. Could you talk about that investment committee, the process, and
Yeah.
also who's on it?
Oh, sure. So the chair of the investment committee is Eric Angeli. He's been with the Sprott organization for decades, probably 25 years. Um, Jason Stevens, who's a certified financial analyst, a CFA, he's been, again, part of the team for many decades. Sam Broom, who's a geologist from New Zealand, he's on the team. Mishka van Dorp, he's also been with Sprott for decades. All of these gentlemen, as you know, worked very closely and learned directly from you on natural resource investing. So they've been very well trained. And then our geologist that is an analyst for us, Justin Tolman. He's one of the superstars of the Sprott organization. He advises the investment committee here in Carlsbad.
Well, I can personally vouch for all these people. I remember at least three of them interning with us before they finished university. It seems at Sprott, you either don't last 90 days or you stay for 2 or 3 decades. So tell me something about the products and services that you offer retail investors in the United States.
Sure. So we can create a bespoke natural resource allocation for investors, or we have a suite of separately managed accounts. And those are run by different portfolio managers if they want something special or more specific. So, for example, there's a gold SMA that focuses obviously on actively managed gold assets, a silver SMA, similar. And then we have different portfolios. One is called a Resource Alpha, that's run by the investment committee. We have one called Value Plus, which is run by Jason Stevens. And that one focuses on natural resources a little more broadly. It's not only mining, it also includes agriculture and energy. And then on top of that, for our higher net worth clients, we have private partnerships. And the private partnerships are, one is run by the investment committee, and that one is called the RED Fund, a resource exploration and development. And the interesting thing about that one is that's how we partake in private placements. That's how we partake in pipe deals, which you're obviously very familiar with. We also have other ones that are available through the Sprott organization. One of them is run by a portfolio manager in Connecticut, Ryan McIntyre. and that one is the Sprott Physical Commodities Fund. That one's very interesting because Ryan follows 31 different physical commodities and actually takes physical possession and warehouses those commodities that he believes are undervalued and holds them until they've appreciated in value. So that's a very interesting one.
And how do you communicate to investors? How is it that investors can understand what you're doing with their money?
By having conversations with our financial advisors.
But I guess what I'm saying is that irrespective of whether people are which product they're invested in, they will have one living, breathing human being with whom they communicate. Is that accurate?
Yes, exactly. So we are. So let me make a point on that. So we're a registered investment advisory firm, which means that we give advice. We're not compensated at all by transactions. We're 100% compensated by the advice that we give. And so we're aligned with our clients. The more money we make for them, the more money we make for ourselves. So there's true alignment there. And I think the other important thing is that we're fiduciaries. And what that means is we are bound to act in the best interest of our clients. So everything we do is through that lens of what is the best for our clients. And that doesn't go away after the sale of a product.
So, Rob, assuming that one of the people that hears this interview and intends to come to the conference in Boca Raton wants to reach out to Sprott Wealth Management before the conference, who particularly do they call, and how do they find that person?
Yeah, they can reach out to me, or if they go to our website, which is sprottusa.com. There's a contact us. There's a phone number there. There's an email there. I get all of those personally, and I will put them in touch with one of our financial advisors.
So what you're saying is anybody who's interested in an overview of Sprott's services could reach out to the president himself, Rob Villaflor.
Yes, that's correct. I'm available.
That's great. I like one person, and I like my customers to know that one person, so that one person is responsible for the communication and the satisfaction of my attendees. Rob, thank you for a decade of toil on behalf of investors and a decade of toil on behalf of Sprott shareholders, myself included. Thank you particularly this year for your sponsorship and support of the Natural Resources Investment Symposium. I look forward to hosting you and your team at Boca Raton.
We look forward to it as well. Thank you, Rick.